The stars looked different from the observation deck of the International Space Station. Lily Collins had seen them many times during her 10 years as an ambassador, but today they seemed brighter, more alive. Maybe it was because today was the day everything would change. "They're coming," said Alan Peterson, his voice low and serious. The commander stood tall in his blue uniform, hands clasped behind his back. The alien ship just passed Mars orbit. Lily nodded and smoothed down her formal suit. The message had arrived 3 months ago, a simple greeting sent to all Earth's major communication centers at once. "We are the Galactic Confederacy. We come in peace. We wish to meet." At first, people thought it was a joke. Then the massive ship appeared at the edge of the solar system, moving slowly toward Earth. The world governments had quickly chosen Lily and Alan to meet the visitors first. "Are you scared?" asked Alan. "No," said Lily, but her hands shook slightly. "Just excited. Humans have wondered about aliens for so long, and now we'll be the first to speak with them." The space station's alert system beeped. A voice came through. "The speakers. Ambassador Collins, Commander Peterson, the ship has arrived. They're sending over a small craft now." Together they walked to the airlock chamber. Station workers moved quickly around them, checking air pressure and preparing for the historic meeting. "Remember," Alan said quietly, "we represent all humanity, today." The docking sequence began with a soft hiss. Metal clanged against metal. Then silence. The airlock door slid open. The first alien to step through was tall and insect-like. It had 6 limbs, a hard outer shell that shimmered green and blue, and large compound eyes that reflected the station's lights. Behind it came 3 more aliens, all different species. One looked almost human, but with pale blue skin and no hair. Another was short and stocky with thick gray fur. The third floated rather than walked, a cloud of shifting gases held in a transparent containment suit. The insect-like alien stepped forward. A small device on its chest glowed. "Greetings, humans of Earth. I am Ambassador Zulthar of the Galactic Confederacy. We bring friendship and knowledge." Lily stepped forward too. "Welcome to Earth space. I am Ambassador Lily Collins, and this is Commander Alan Peterson. We are honored to meet you." The alien's mouth parts moved in what might have been a smile. "The honor is ours. We have waited long to meet your kind." After the formal greetings, they moved to the station's conference room. The station crew stared as the strange group passed by. The aliens seemed equally curious, looking at everything with great interest. In the conference room, the alien ambassador presented a gift. It was a small crystal cube. When Zulthar touched it, the cube projected a 3-dimensional map of the galaxy into the air above the table. "The Galactic Confederacy includes 87 different species," explained Zulthar. "We live together in peace, sharing knowledge and resources. We invite Earth to join us." Lily watched the map spin slowly. Different colored areas showed, the territories of various species. She noticed something odd. "Why is Earth's space so large?" she asked. The area marked for humans was much bigger than most others, despite humans having no colonies beyond their own solar system. The alien ambassadors looked at each other quickly. The blue-skinned one shifted in his seat. The furry one coughed. "It is traditional," said Zulthar finally. "New members receive generous territory." Alan pointed to something else. Around the edge of human space was a strange symbol, repeated over and over. It looked like a warning. "What does this symbol mean?" he asked. The temperature in the room seemed to drop. Zulthar's antennae pulled back flat against its head. The gaseous alien's cloud darkened visibly. "It is nothing," said the blue alien quickly. "A map marking. Nothing important." Lily frowned. That was clearly a lie. But before she could ask more questions, Zulthar spoke again, voice higher than before. "Let us discuss trade opportunities. The Confederacy is eager to share technology with Earth." The meeting continued for hours. The aliens offered amazing things: faster than light, travel, advanced medicine, clean energy. But every time Lily or Alan asked about the map or about Earth's history, The aliens changed the subject. Later, when the visitors returned to their ship for the night, Kevin Wright, a language expert who had been recording the meeting, approached Lily and Alan in the quiet hallway. "There's something wrong with the translation," he said, showing them his computer. "When they call us newcomers to the galaxy, the actual word they're using is more like returned ones." Lily felt a chill. "What does that mean?" Kevin shook his head. "I don't know. But they're hiding something. Did you notice how they react whenever we ask about our place on the map?" Alan nodded slowly. "They're afraid. But afraid of what? Us? That makes no sense." Later that night, unable to sleep, Lily stood alone at the observation window. The alien ship hung in space nearby, beautiful and strange. As she watched, a small light detached from it and moved toward Earth. Her communicator beeped. It was the station's tracking system. "Ambassador, the aliens just sent an unmanned probe to Earth. It's heading for the Pacific Ocean near some very old underwater ruins we discovered last year." Lily frowned. The ruins had puzzled archaeologists because they seemed too advanced for any known ancient human civilization. Some had even joked they might be alien. "Keep tracking it," she ordered. As she looked back at the alien ship, she caught movement. Zulthar stood at a window looking directly at her. Even across the vacuum of space, she could feel its gaze. The alien raised one limb in what seemed like greeting or warning. On her tablet, Lily opened the galactic map again. The warning symbols around human space glowed faintly. She zoomed in on them and for the first time noticed tiny writing beneath each one. The translation program struggled but finally produced a single phrase. "The boundary holds. The sleepers must not wake." Lily looked up at the stars again. What were they not being told? Who were humans really? And why did the galactic chart stop so firmly at the edge of human space? 10 years had passed since humans first met the aliens. Earth now had 5 colonies on different planets. Ships with faster-than-light engines traveled between stars in days instead of years. People lived longer, healthier lives thanks to alien medicine. But questions remained. Why did the galactic map show such a large area for humans? Why did other species avoid human space? What were the ancient agreements mentioned in alien communications? Dr. Olivia Mason hoped to find answers. She led a team of 20 archaeologists on a distant planet called HD 29458b. Humans had found ruins there, buildings and structures from a civilization that existed millions of years ago. "Careful with that," Olivia said as 2 workers lifted a stone tablet. "It's over 5 million years old." The ruins covered a large area. Strange buildings made of black stone stood half buried in red sand. Symbols covered the walls, unlike any language humans had seen before. Yet something about them felt familiar to Olivia. Captain Nicole Baker watched from nearby. She led the security team protecting the archaeologists. "Find anything interesting today?" she asked. Olivia nodded. "We think we found an entrance to an underground chamber. The readings show a large space beneath this structure." Nicole looked up at the sky. 3 Confederacy ships hung in orbit, watching. They had been there since the dig started. "They sure are interested in what we're doing. They say they're here to help," said Olivia, "but they never come down to the surface, they just watch." The team worked for hours, carefully removing debris from the doorway. Finally, it stood open. A dark passage leading down. "I'm going in first," said Olivia, putting on her helmet. The air in the ruins was breathable but dusty. Nicole followed close behind, her hand near her weapon. 6 other team members came after them, carrying lights and equipment. The passage went deep underground. The walls were covered with more symbols. Some showed star systems. Others showed beings that looked almost human. "These pictures," said one team member, "they look like a story." Olivia stopped to study them. "A war story, I think. Look at these images of explosions. Planets being destroyed. At the end of the passage, they found a large room. In the center stood a metal pedestal with a device. On top, it looked like a small pyramid made of crystal and metal." "What is that?" asked Nicole. "I don't know," said Olivia. She approached slowly. The device began to glow as she got closer. It's reacting to our presence. She reached out and touched it. Suddenly, the room filled with light. Images appeared in the air, three-dimensional recordings. The images showed beings that looked human. They wore advanced armor and carried weapons unlike anything Olivia had seen. In the recording, these human-like beings fought against shadowy creatures. Stars exploded. Planets shattered. The war spanned the entire galaxy. "They look like us," whispered Nicole. "But this recording is millions of years old." The images changed. Now they showed the human-like beings using incredible powers. They moved objects with their minds. They traveled between stars without ships. They created and destroyed matter with a thought. "This can't be right," said Olivia. "No species could do these things." The recording ended suddenly. The device stopped glowing. "We need to tell Earth about this," said Nicole. "This changes everything." When news of the discovery reached the Galactic Confederacy, the response was immediate. For the first time ever, representatives from all 87 member species gathered in one place. They sent a message to Earth. "We formally request that humans stop all archaeological activities on HD 209458b. The ruins contain dangerous knowledge that could destabilize the galaxy." On Earth, government leaders met to discuss the request. Frank Garrison, now the head of Earth's diplomatic relations, read the message aloud. "They're scared," he said. "But of what? Old ruins? Or what we might learn from them?" Back on HD 29458b, Captain Nicole Baker noticed something strange. The Confederacy ships kept a very specific distance from the planet. "They never come closer than 500,000 kilometers," she told Olivia. "It's like they're staying outside a line we can't see." Nicole intercepted communications between the alien ships. Her translator picked up fragments. Preemptive containment measures might be necessary. No, the ancient pacts must be honored. What if they remember? What if they activate? The veil is weakening. Some are already dreaming. Nicole didn't understand what it all meant, but she felt uneasy. They're talking about us like we're dangerous, like we're a threat to them. That night, Olivia had a dream. She saw the galaxy from above. A terrible darkness spread between the stars. Then figures that looked human stood against it, their hands raised, light flowing from them. She woke with a gasp. For a moment, equations and symbols filled her mind, knowledge she had never learned. Then it faded, leaving only a sense of loss. The next day, Olivia's team found another chamber. This one contained hundreds of small devices similar to the first one. When they brought one to the surface to study, the Confederacy ships broke orbit and moved away, increasing their distance even further. "They're afraid of these devices," said Nicole. "But why?" Olivia studied the new device carefully. It was smaller than the first one but had the same pyramid shape. As she examined it, her fingers moved automatically, pressing hidden buttons, in a sequence she somehow knew. The device opened, revealing a crystal inside. When Olivia touched it, words appeared in her mind. Not in any human language, yet she understood them perfectly. "Remember who you are. Remember what sleeps within. The veil grows thin. The void returns. Guardians must awaken." "What does it mean?" Nicole asked when Olivia told her. "I don't know," said Olivia, "but I think we're about to find out." High above them, the stars seemed to watch. And somewhere in the depths of space, beyond the boundary that no alien dared to cross, something ancient began to stir. 5 years passed since that first meeting with the aliens. Earth had changed. New technologies from the Galactic Confederacy had solved many old problems. Clean energy powered every city. Medical advances cured diseases that once killed millions. And humans had built their first colony beyond Earth. Proxima Station orbited the closest star to the sun. It was small but growing quickly. Samantha Wells looked out the window of her lab at the red dwarf star. As chief science officer, she had the best view on the station. "Dr. Wells, you need to see this," said her assistant. He handed her a tablet showing test results. Samantha frowned as she read. "This can't be right. These results show we improved their engine design by 30%. The assistant nodded. I ran the tests 3 times. Our changes make the alien engine significantly better. This had been happening more and more. The aliens shared their technology freely, but humans often found ways to improve it. Samantha's team didn't fully understand how the alien tech worked, yet somehow they made it work better. Don't tell the Confederacy representatives about this yet, she said. The aliens always acted strangely when humans improved their technology, almost afraid. Her communicator beeped. Dr. Wells, please report to the command center. Urgent situation. In the command center, Station Director Carl Ryan stood looking at a large screen. It showed a ship moving through space. What's happening? Asked Samantha. We have an intruder, said Carl. A ship from the Krath Empire just crossed into human space. Samantha knew about the Krath. They were reptilian aliens known for being aggressive. The Confederacy had warned humans to be careful around them. Have you contacted Earth? She asked. Carl nodded. They're sending warships, but it will take days for them to arrive. We've also notified the Confederacy. The screen showed a smaller human ship approaching the intruder. It was a patrol vessel with minimal weapons. That's Lieutenant Greg Martinez's ship, said Carl. I ordered him to observe only, not engage. They watched as the human patrol ship moved closer to the Krath vessel. The alien ship was 4 times larger and covered in what looked like weapon ports. Suddenly, Martinez's voice came through the speakers. This is Earth Patrol Ship Delta. You have entered human space without permission. Please state your purpose. No response came from the Krath ship. I repeat, this is Earth Patrol Ship Delta. You are in violation of Galactic Confederacy border treaties. Please respond or turn back immediately. Still no answer. They're ignoring him, said Carl. Samantha watched nervously. The Krath ship continued. Forward, now heading directly toward Proxima Station. Then Martinez did something unexpected. Powering up weapon systems. You have 30 seconds to respond before I fire a warning shot. Carl grabbed the communicator. Martinez, stand down. That's an order, but it was too late. The patrol ship's small laser cannons began to glow, preparing to fire. What happened next shocked everyone. The massive Krath warship suddenly changed direction. Its engines flared brightly as it turned and accelerated away from human space. They're retreating? Carl said in disbelief. Martinez's voice came through again, sounding just as surprised. They're running. I didn't even fire. Later that day, the Confederacy sent 3 diplomatic ships to Proxima Station. The aliens were clearly upset. The Krath Empire has formally apologized for the incursion, said the blue-skinned ambassador to Carl and Samantha. They claim it was a navigational error. That's hard to believe, said Carl. Their ship was heading straight for our station. The ambassador shifted uncomfortably. Yes, well, the important thing is they have promised it won't happen again. They understand the seriousness of entering human space without permission. Samantha noticed something. You were going to say something else. Crossing the what? Nothing important, the ambassador said quickly. A translation error. After the meeting, Samantha reviewed the recording. The alien had almost said, crossing the sacred boundary. Why would a boundary be sacred? Over the next few weeks, more strange things happened. While reviewing communications from the Confederacy, Samantha found repeated references to ancient agreements and the sacred boundary whenever human space was mentioned. Meanwhile, on Earth, Frank Garrison sat in his office at the International Space Agency. As Director of Interstellar Relations, he had access to classified information. The file on his desk troubled him greatly. It listed 12 separate incidents where alien ships had approached human space in the past 5 years. Each time, the ships retreated as soon as humans responded. Each time, the aliens apologized, claiming it was a mistake. Frank's assistant entered the room. Sir, we just received this from the Deep Space Listening Post. The message was simple. 2 alien ships talking near the edge of human space. Are they serious about testing the boundary again? Asked the first alien voice. The council just wants to know if the legends are true, replied the second voice. Foolish. We all know what happened to the last species that provoked them, but they don't remember who they are. The records say they were made to forget. The sleepers are waking up. Haven't you seen how quickly they improve our technology? That's not normal. No species learns that fast unless what? Unless they already knew it once before. The transmission ended there. Frank leaned back in his chair, thinking hard. What did it mean? Who were humans before? And what had they done that made the entire galaxy fear them still? That night, in her quarters on Proxima Station, Samantha dreamed of stars exploding and worlds burning. She woke suddenly, her heart racing. The dream felt like a memory, but that was impossible. She'd never seen a star explode. On her desk, the small piece of alien technology she'd been studying glowed faintly in the dark. As she watched, the device reconfigured itself slightly, becoming more efficient. She hadn't touched it, yet somehow, she knew exactly how it worked now. 20 years after first contact, humanity had spread to more than a dozen star systems. Human ships were almost as fast as Confederacy vessels. Human weapons were almost as powerful. Somehow humans learned alien technology quickly, often improving it in ways the aliens themselves had never considered. Admiral Paul Wilson stood on the bridge of the Earthship Horizon, the largest vessel in humanity's fleet. He watched the stars through the main window, thinking about the strange reports he had received over the years. "Admiral," said his aide, "Commander Lisa Green has arrived." Lisa Green entered the bridge. She was the head of Earth's intelligence division and an expert on alien civilizations. "Thank you for coming, Commander," said Paul. "Have you finished the mission I assigned you?" Lisa nodded. "Yes, sir. My team infiltrated the Confederacy's central archives. It wasn't easy, but we got what you wanted." She handed him a data device. "You should see this for yourself, sir. It's difficult to believe." In the Admiral's private office, they viewed the stolen records together. The images showed a war that happened 50,000 years ago. A terrible war that nearly destroyed the galaxy. The Sundering, Lisa explained. That's what they called it. It was fought between different factions of a species called the progenitors. "And these progenitors," said Paul, looking closely at the images, "they look exactly like humans." Lisa nodded. According to these records, the progenitors were the first advanced species in the galaxy. They explored space before any other race evolved beyond their home planets. They spread throughout the stars, built incredible technologies, and eventually developed abilities beyond normal science. The records showed the progenitors at the height of their power. They could manipulate matter with their minds. They could create or destroy at will. Some could even see the future or travel through time. Then they split into groups, continued Lisa. Some wanted to use their powers to help other younger species. Others wanted to rule them. The two sides fought. The images showed the war in terrible detail. Entire planets destroyed. Stars collapsed into black holes. The very fabric of space torn apart. "The weapons they used were beyond anything we can imagine," said Lisa. "They manipulated space-time itself. They destroyed whole star systems with a thought." Paul watched in silence as the recording continued. The surviving species, those that had evolved while the progenitors ruled, formed the first version of the Confederacy. Together, they fought against the warring progenitors. "They won," said Lisa. "But the cost was enormous. Billions died. Thousands of worlds were made uninhabitable." "What happened to the progenitors?" asked Paul. Lisa touched the device, showing the final records. The Confederacy built something called the Veil. It was a device that affected the minds of the surviving progenitors. It made them forget who they were, what they could do. They made them forget their own powers, their own history. Paul was shocked. Yes. Then they relocated them to a single planet in a remote part of the galaxy. They established a quarantine zone around that solar system and banned all contact. Paul suddenly understood. Earth. They put them on Earth. We are the progenitors. Lisa nodded. The boundary on the galactic chart marks the edge of the quarantine zone. No species is allowed to cross it without permission. They've been watching us for 50,000 years, making sure we don't remember who we are. Paul stood up and walked to the window. But we're starting to remember, aren't we? That's why we understand their technology so easily. That's why we improve. If without knowing how, the knowledge is still inside us, buried deep. There's more, said Lisa. The Confederacy is divided about what to do with us. Some species want to destroy Earth before we fully remember. Others insist that the ancient treaties must be respected. Treaties? What treaties? After the war, the remaining progenitors agreed to the veil and the quarantine, but only if the Confederacy swore never to harm them. It was a sacred pact signed in blood. Paul thought about all the strange behavior from the aliens over the years, the fear in their eyes when humans asked certain questions, the way they kept a careful distance. It all made sense now. But why? Are we starting to remember now after 50,000 years, he asked. Lisa looked troubled. I found references to something called the Void. The records are unclear, but it seems the progenitors were fighting against it before they turned on each other. The Confederacy believes it's returning. And they think we need to remember. To fight it? Asked Paul. Some do. Others are terrified that if we remember our powers, we'll restart the ancient war. Later that day, Admiral Wilson called an emergency meeting with Earth's government. He shared everything Lisa had discovered. The room fell silent as the leaders tried to understand what it meant. We need to know more, said the president finally. If humans once had these powers, can we access them again, should we? No one had an answer. That night, strange dreams swept across human space. People on Earth, on the colonies, on ships traveling between stars, all dreamed of power flowing through their bodies, of stars being born and dying, of a darkness moving between worlds. In her apartment in New York, Lily Collins, the ambassador who first met the aliens 20 years before, woke suddenly. Her hands were glowing with soft blue light. She stared at them in shock as small objects in the room began to float in the air around her. On Proxima Station, Samantha Wells found herself knowing things she had never learned. She wrote equations on her computer that explained how the universe worked at its deepest level. The equations seemed to come from somewhere inside her, from memories that weren't hers, yet were. And on HD 29458B, Olivia Mason activated all the ancient devices at once. They rose into the air, forming a perfect circle. Light connected them, creating a map of the galaxy. In the map, a shadow moved, growing larger, consuming stars as it came. A message appeared in her mind, clearer than before. The veil falls. The guardians must rise. The void hungers once more. In a secret facility deep beneath the Pacific Ocean, the leaders of Earth gathered. Frank Garrison, now elderly with white hair, stood at the head of the table. Around him sat military commanders, scientists, and government officials. We face a choice, said Frank. We now know who we once were. The question is, what do we do with this knowledge? Screens on the walls showed images from across human space. On colony worlds, people woke with new abilities. Some could move objects without touching them. Others could heal with a touch. Children dreamed of stars and powers beyond imagination. The veil was falling. Humanity was remembering. We have several options, continued Frank. First, we could try to strengthen the veil, to make people forget again. Second, we could embrace our heritage and reclaim our powers. Third, we could seek a middle path. Dr. Olivia Mason spoke up from a video link. She was still on HD 29458B. The ancient devices have shown me more. The progenitors, our ancestors, weren't simply warmongers. They were guardians of the galaxy. They fought against something they called the Void. She showed them recordings from the devices. The images revealed a dark energy moving between stars, consuming everything it touched. The progenitors had created a barrier to hold it back. The war that nearly destroyed the galaxy, said Olivia, started because some progenitors wanted to use the Void's power rather than contain it. They thought they could control it. Admiral Paul Wilson frowned. And now this Void is returning? Is that what's causing the veil to fail? I believe so, said Olivia. The device is activated because they sensed it coming back. They're trying to wake us up to face it again. Samantha Wells joined the conversation from Proxima Station. I've been studying the equations that came to me in my dreams. They describe a force that exists outside normal space. It feeds on life energy. The barrier our ancestors built is weakening after 50,000 years. Outside the facility, a storm raged over the ocean. Lightning struck the water repeatedly. The sea itself seemed angry. Deep in space, Admiral Wilson's flagship, the Horizon, detected a massive Confederacy fleet gathering just beyond the boundary of human space. Over 1,000 ships from different species hung in the darkness. Weapons ready. They're debating whether to attack us, reported Commander Lisa Green, who monitored their communications. Some argue we're too dangerous now that we're remembering. Others say we're the only ones who can stop the void. In New York, Lily Collins sat in her apartment, surrounded by floating objects. With each passing hour, she remembered more of who she had once been, of the power she had once wielded, of the responsibility that came with it. Her communicator beeped. It was Frank Garrison. Lily, we need you at the Pacific facility. You were the first to meet them. You should be the one to speak with them now. As governments across Earth tried to maintain order, more people developed abilities. Some used them selflessly, helping others. Some used them for personal gain. Humanity's oldest traits, both good and bad, remained, even as they remembered their ancient powers. In orbit above Earth, a single Confederacy ship appeared. It was larger than any alien vessel humans had seen before. It carried representatives from all 87 species of the Galactic Confederacy. They're requesting to land, said Frank. They want to meet with our leaders. In the meeting room of the Pacific facility, the alien representatives gathered. Some looked afraid. Others seemed hopeful. Zulthar, the insectoid ambassador who had first contacted Earth 20 years before, stepped forward. The time of hiding truths is over, it said. We have watched you remember who you once were. Some of us feared this day. Others hoped for it. Lily Collins, now representing Earth, faced the aliens. Why did you hide our past from us? Why did you let us believe we were just another species? Because we were afraid, admitted Zulthar. The war your ancestors fought nearly ended all life in the galaxy. When it was over and the survivors agreed to the veil, we swore to protect you but also to contain you. And now? Asked Admiral Wilson. Now the void returns, said the blue-skinned alien. Our scientists detect it moving through distant systems, consuming all life. The ancient barrier fails. We do not have the power to stop it. But we might, said Lily, looking at her hands. The blue glow had grown stronger. Zulthar nodded. That is our hope, but also our fear. For if humans remember all their powers but not their wisdom, you might become like those who tried to use the void. You might destroy what remains of the galaxy. In the silence that followed, Samantha Wells spoke from her video link. The knowledge coming back to us isn't just about power, it's about responsibility. Our ancestors were guardians before they were conquerors. On the screens, images from HD 29458B showed more devices activating. They formed complex patterns in the air, creating what looked like a map. The map showed the void approaching from beyond the galaxy's edge. We have a decision to make, said Frank. Do we embrace these powers and fight? Do we try to forget again? Or is there another way? Lily stood, her eyes now glowing with the same blue light as her hands. I think I understand now. The boundary on the galactic chart never existed to keep us in. Admiral Wilson nodded slowly. It was to keep something else out. From across human space, reports came in of ancient structures activating on different worlds. Structures the colonists had thought were natural formations now revealed themselves as machines built by the progenitors, by human ancestors. Long ago we stood against the darkness, said Lily, memories flooding back that weren't entirely her own. We built a wall across the stars to hold it back. Some of us stayed to guard that wall. Others went to sleep so that if the wall ever failed, We would rise again with fresh eyes and fresh hearts. She faced the aliens. We are not your enemies, we never were. We were your guardians. And now we remember enough to know what must be done. Through the facility windows, they could see the storm outside calming. The lightning stopped. The sea grew still. All across Earth, people looked up at the sky with new understanding. Lily turned to the alien representatives. The boundary on your chart still stops at human space, but now everyone understands exactly why. She held out her hand, glowing with blue energy. The question is, will you stand with us?